Hi guys! Today I want to talk about helmets. With the GoRUFFLY Around the World adventure starting in 17 days, I think it's an appropriate time to talk about gear. And one piece of gear that I know I'm going to be using a lot is my helmet. So for the past 6 years, I've been using the Schuberth Women's C3 Pro helmet. And you know, I really liked it. It was a modular, and I thought that the modular would be great for in hot weather when you're stuck at a traffic light or whatever. You could just pull it up and get some fresh air. And that was true, that it worked like that. But I never felt like it really fit right. So I've got a small head, and I got the small in the women's, and I still felt like it like squished my cheeks in here, but in the back there was still so much space. And like, yeah, I put in additional pads to try and get it to fit right, but I never felt like I settled into it. And so after 6 years, like I always knew that I wanted something else, but just it was never the right time. So I decided now for this trip that it was a good time to get a new one. So I went back to Los Angeles a few weeks ago, and I had looked online to see what the best helmet for me would be. And I wanted something that was gonna be light. I decided against a modular because I felt like with all the to-do and everything, like it really wasn't worth it for me. I just wanted like a standard full face helmet. And so when I looked online, I saw that the Shoei, the GT Air 2 was a good option. It had a lot of vents, it looked really comfy. And so I purchased it in the matte gray. So it arrived, and I unpacked it and put it on, and it felt like a helmet. Like there was nothing really special to it. It was comfortable, it was the right size, but you know, it didn't give me that feeling that I was sort of expecting for like a $600 helmet, I guess. I wanted that feeling like when you put on like your favorite piece of clothing, that like confidence that it gives you, you know, like you feel good. You feel like you can do anything when you're wearing that piece of clothing. And I sort of wanted that from my helmet, and I just wasn't really feeling it. And somehow I felt a little guilty, like it was a $600 helmet, and yeah, I can return it, but like I went through all of this and I was only gonna be in Los Angeles for about a week, so time was running out. So I called Greg, he was back here in Guatemala, and I told him about the helmet. I said, yeah, it fits great, and this and that, it's got the vents, but he could sort of tell something was wrong. And so the next morning he told me to take a look at the Nexx helmets. And he had a Nexx helmet, and I didn't love it. It was big, and like I said, I've got a small head, and I sort of felt like that thing was like gigantic. And he specifically told me to look at the Nexx WED 2 helmet. And when I went on, I was like, that is a really good looking helmet, but it has a peak. And for those of you who have been following along with my videos, you know that like I struggle with feeling like a rider, and especially an off-road rider. And to me, the peak represents that. It's an ADV helmet. It means that, from my perspective, that you ride off-road and that you do it well. Otherwise, why would you get a peaked helmet? So for me, when I first saw it, my initial reaction, like it is with everything, my default is to say no. But I actually took a step back in this case, and I sort of thought through the situation. Like, I'm about to do this around the world trip. I've done so much to get the business moving for this trip, so that this trip can actually happen. And the whole point of the trip is to overcome these types of fears. And one of my big fears is off-road riding. And so I thought, well, you know, I think it's time that I actually have to start saying yes and actually give in and try it. And so I did. I ordered the helmet. It came like 2 days before I was supposed to leave. I took it out, I put it on, and I felt like a badass. You know, like I felt like I got that confidence that I was looking for. You know, I liked the look of it, I liked the feel. It had everything that I wanted. And as much as I might not be an ADV rider or a good ADV rider, or stack up to the people out there, I think that by the end of this trip, I'll have earned that peak. So that's the helmet that I've got. I have now the Nexx WED 2. It's in the white with the black accents. And you know, for me, there's a lot of symbolism for this, that I actually selected this helmet with the peak, and I think that it just is going to say that this trip is going to be awesome and that I am going to be able to conquer these types of fears that I have. Thanks guys for watching.